in this part we are going to take a look at the structure of a plant cell. In the last part we have understood the structure of an animal cell. In this part we are going to take a look at the structure of a plant cell. So first, plant cell, obviously plant cells are eukaryotic cells. And what is a eukaryotic cell? Eukaryotic cell is a cell that has a true nucleus and they have true membrane bound structures, and those are called organelles. So when we talk about the structure of a plant cell, the first thing is, when we are talking about animal cells, it is the structure is irregular in shape. It's not like a perfect rectangle or a perfect square. While we are talking about a plant cell, it is somewhat hexagonal in shape, like this. So it's somewhat like this. This is the structure of, this is the outer membrane of a plant cell, and this outer membrane of a plant cell, this is called as the cell membrane or the plasma membrane or the biomembrane. So it's the outer protective layer of the cell. Next, here we have one more layer outside the, just outside the plasma membrane. It's like this, somewhat like this. And this layer that we have drawn, this is called as the cell wall, and it's a very important characteristic of plant cells. Now when we talked about animal cells, we did not draw the cell wall. Why? Because animal cells don't have cell wall. In plant cells, they have cell wall, and in plant cells the cell wall is made up of, it's made up of cellulose, a substance which is called a polysaccharide, which is called cellulose. Now only in plant cells it's made up of cellulose, but whereas let's say if you talk about bacteria, in bacteria cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan. In fungi it's made up of chitin. So different organisms have different compositions in the cell wall. So we have talked about cell membrane and we have talked about cell wall. Now what is the function of cell wall? Cell wall basically protects the cell. It gives a proper structure to the cell. It's like a protective layer, and it's very hard. It's a rigid protective layer, and that's why plant cell got the fixed shape. So if you look at animal cell, it is somewhat irregular in shape. But whereas if we are talking about plant cell, it is more hexagonal in shape, like this. So it has 6 sides like this. Now why is this? It's because of cell wall. Because cell wall is very hard and rigid, we have this kind of structure to this plant cell. This is cell wall and this is cell membrane. Next, we are going to draw the next one. We are going to talk about the vacuole next. Now this is big and large vacuole. When we talked about animal cell, we have drawn little small vacuoles, and those are many. But whereas if you talk about plant cell, so these are vacuoles. If you talk about plant cell, they are very large. So they are very large and big, and they are located in the center of the cell. Usually they are located in the center of the plant cell. So this is the vacuole. And what is the function of vacuole? Vacuole stores some dissolved substances like water and some minerals, some dissolved substances. So this, the fluid substance inside the vacuole, this is called as the cell sap. So this is the cell sap. Now vacuole stores all the dissolved substances like water and minerals, and it also stores the cell sap. It's more in plant cells. The membrane, so we are talking about the membrane here. This membrane, like the cell has got cell membrane, this is the like just a protective layer. This vacuole also has got a protective membrane outside it, and this membrane is called as, it has got a special name and it's very important to remember. It is called as tonoplast. Tonoplast is the membrane of the vacuole. So vacuole, cell sap and tonoplast. Tonoplast is the membrane of the vacuole. Next thing is this fluid present in the cell, the jelly-like substance which is present in the cell. This is called as cytoplasm. This we have looked at animal cells also. When we are talking about animal cells, we have talked about cytoplasm. Now, one important thing about cytoplasm, the outer substance or the cytoplasm which is present at the periphery of the cell, that is called as the gel. And inside the cytoplasm which is present in the center of the cell, it's called as soul. When we are talking about cytoplasm, we will take a look at that as well. So this is cytoplasm. It is the main area for chemical reactions to happen. For example, glycolysis. Glycolysis is a respiratory chemical reaction. So many chemical reactions and chemical processes happen in cytoplasm. This is the main area for that. So we have looked at vacuoles, cytoplasm, cell membrane and cell wall. Next we are going to take a look at nucleus, very important organelle. It's like the brain of the cell. So this is our nucleus. This is our nucleus. Now nucleus is double membraned. So we have the inner membrane of the nucleus and the outer membrane of the nucleus. So if you have to label this part here, this is collectively called as the nuclear membrane. Nuclear membrane. Okay, so this is the nuclear membrane, and the whole thing, this is called as nucleus. So because we are labeling it, we label in different parts. So the thread like substance inside the nucleus, this is called as chromatin fibers, and chromatin fibers are the DNA. So chromatin fibers, these are the DNA like substance like chromosomes. And we have one more structure in the nuclear membrane, and this is called as nucleolus. And the function of nucleolus is to make ribosomes. So nucleus, this is the whole structure of nucleus: nuclear membrane, chromatin, nucleolus. So this is nucleolus. And the person who discovered nucleus is Robert Brown. It's important to remember that. Okay, this is the whole structure of nucleus. Next we are going to come to the next very important organelle, and that is called mitochondria. So mitochondria, we are going to label it. What is the function of mitochondria? Mitochondria is a site for ATP synthesis. So it makes ATP. It helps in basically a process which is called cellular respiration. So this is mitochondria, and mitochondria is thrown into some folds inside this. So inside, if you see, it is thrown into some folds, and these are called cristae. Okay, so and mitochondria, it has some fluid substance inside. It's called the mitochondrial matrix, and mitochondria has its own ribosomes and the DNA. That's why it's called semi-autonomous organelle. Okay, so this is mitochondria. It helps in cellular respiration. Next we are going to take a look at a very important one, which is called endoplasmic reticulum. So when we talked about animal cells as well, we have seen that as well. So endoplasmic reticulum are just like some foldings which are present just outside the nucleus. So this is endoplasmic reticulum. So let me draw one more here. And we know that endoplasmic reticulum can be divided into two main types. The first one is with ribosomes, and that is called RER, which is rough endoplasmic reticulum. One is smooth RER, smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So we are going to label it. This is called as RER, rough endoplasmic reticulum, and this is called as SER, smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Now why is it called rough and smooth endoplasmic reticulum? Because rough means it has ribosomes on it, on the membrane actually, And these ribosomes which are present on the membrane, these are called the bound ribosomes or membrane bound ribosomes. There are some ribosomes which are present in the cytoplasm. They're just scattered in the cytoplasm. These are called, these are also ribosomes, but they are called free ribosomes. Why? Because they are just free in the cytoplasm. They are just scattered in the cytoplasm. So the ribosomes which are on the membrane of the RER, these are called as membrane bound ribosomes, and the ribosomes which are free, they are called free ribosomes. So RER, SER. What is the function of this endoplasmic reticulum? First, RER. What is the function of RER? RER makes proteins because it has ribosomes. Ribosomes usually make proteins. They help in protein synthesis. What is the function of SER? The smooth endoplasmic reticulum, it helps in synthesis of fats, like lipids and steroids as well. So this is the function of endoplasmic reticulum. So we have looked at RER, SER, which is collectively called endoplasmic reticulum, and we have taken a look at ribosomes as well. There is one more important organelle which is present only in plants, exclusively in plants, and this is called, so these organelles which are present exclusively in plants, these are called plastids. So plastids are the organelles that give colors. They have some pigments to they give colors to the plant. Now plastids are only present in plants, and plastids are of three types. The first one is called leucoplast, the second one is called chloroplast, and the third one is chromoplast. Leucoplast usually is colorless, and it stores some food or any substances. And leucoplasts are again divided into three types. The first one is alluroplast, which stores the protein, which is alluron. That means it usually stores proteins. We also have elaioplast or lipidoplast, which stores lipids, and we have amyloplast, which stores carbohydrates or amylases. So that is leucoplast. Then we have to take a look at chromoplast. And chromoplast, the word chroma means color. So chromoplast gives color to the orangish color. It gives colors to the fruits and flowers. The next one is chloroplast. That's the most common pigment that we see. It has chlorophyll in it. It gives the green color to the leaf. So those are plastids. And plastids, in the plastid, if we take a look at the structure of the plastid, they have, so exclusively if you talk about only chloroplast, because that's what we have to focus on, that is very important. So chloroplast has a fluid substance inside it, and that's called the chloroplast matrix, or it's also called stroma. So stroma is the matrix in the chloroplast, and the little coin like structures in the chloroplast, these are called, so these little coin like structures, these are called thylakoids. So each one is called thylakoid, and the stack of the coins or the stack of thylakoids, they are called grana. Grana is plural, granum is singular. So these are plastids. So again, let's see what did we look at totally. We have looked at vacuole, we have looked at cytoplasm. So here we have cytoplasm. It's where chemical reactions happen. Next, cell sap, the sap in the vacuole. And we have taken a look at cell wall. So where is cell wall? Cell wall is there. And we have taken a look at mitochondria. Mitochondria helps in cellular respiration. And nucleus, chromatin, nucleolus, nuclear membrane. So these are the parts of the nucleus. We have taken a look at the important one, which is cell membrane or plasma membrane or biomembrane. Next, endoplasmic reticulum, RER, SER, and plastids. And there are two more organelles that we have to discuss, and the first one is called lysosomes, and we have seen these in animal cells as well. So these are lysosomes. Lysosomes are usually called as the suicidal bags of the cell. Now why are they called suicidal bags? We have discussed this in the last class as well. Because they digest the waste material or the food. They usually, when a foreign substance or any waste material comes into the cell, they usually digest its own. So that's why they're called suicidal bags of the cell. And lysosomes, they contain a pigment sorry, not pigment, they contain a very important acid called hydrolytic enzymes. So hydrolytic enzymes are the enzymes that help in digestion of the waste material. One important thing, because we're talking about plant cell, lysosomes in plant cell, they are called dictyosomes. So plant lysosomes are called dictyosomes or dictyosomes. Anything is correct. So plant lysosomes are called dictyosomes because plant lysosomes has got a different name, which is dictyosomes. So that is lysosomes. Next we are going to see one more organelle, and that is called, so here we are going to draw it, and that is called, it's also present in animal cells, and those are called Golgi bodies. So these are the Golgi bodies. We'll label it here. Golgi body has got many names. We can call it Golgi body, or either Golgi apparatus, Golgi complex, or Dalton's complex. So anything is same. And Golgi body is discovered by Camillo Golgi. That's how the name comes. And what is the function of Golgi body? Golgi body basically transfers the substances. It has this phase transfers. We are going to take a look at that when we come to Golgi body separately. And as lysosomes are called dictyosomes in plant cells, Golgi bodies also has got a different name but in plant cells, and they are called spherosomes. So spherosomes, Golgi body in plant cells are called spherosomes. So this is the structure of a plant cell, the overall structure of a plant cell. Let's go over again each and everything and take a look at it. So first, vacuole, cell sap. So the cell sap, which is the fluid substance which is present in the vacuole, is cell sap. Tonoplast, the membrane of the vacuole. Mitochondria, SCR, smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Nuclear membrane, the membrane of the nucleus. The cytoplasm, the gel and the soul. The cell membrane, biomembrane. Nucleolus, this nucleolus makes ribosomes. Chromatin, the DNA, the genetic material. And we have looked at RER, which is rough endoplasmic reticulum. Cell wall, which is made up of cellulose in case of plant cells. And Golgi body or spherosomes in plant cells. Ribosomes, the free ribosomes, these are the membrane bound ribosomes or bound ribosomes. And lysosomes, which are dictyosomes in case of plant cells. And plastids, the three different types we have taken a look at. And vacuole. So again, these are the different structures of the plant cell or organelles, which are membrane bound structures. And the only membrane bound structure which is present in the cells are called ribosomes. These are not membrane bound. That's why they're also present in prokaryotic cells, the cells with primitive nucleus. So this is all about eukaryotic cells. We have looked at animal cell and plant cell. This is the overall structure of plant cell.